Hello, exam warriors. Welcome to Manuna Academy. My name is Nayz. Today we are going to be looking at biology, specifically a topic that is on leaf and its adaptation to photosynthesis. So this is a leaf that we're talking about, okay? Then photosynthesis, it is a process by which plants make their own food, and there are things that are needed for a plant to make its own food. Obviously, chlorophyll is needed. Where is the chlorophyll coming from? It is coming from a green leaf. Water is needed, and carbon dioxide, sunlight are what are needed. Okay, so meaning it mostly takes place in green leaves. So actually this one today we'll be looking at your essay, because everything I'm doing here is mostly based on essays. Yes, questions can come on this, but specifically on essay. So already we're having an essay, so pay extra attention. Okay, so here we're having the internal part of a leaf. Do not get confused. This is a leaf, but we're talking about now, we're looking at it into detail. So they view this and you are able to draw. This is how a leaf looks inside. Okay, so it's just simple, but what is inside, the content is what actually is here. So here the first thing you're supposed to do when you look at a diagram, be able to identify the type of diagram you're given and be able to label the parts. Okay, so how identify? So this is the internal part of the leaf, and here we're having A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay, so in these letters, they're supposed to, these are not the parts. There's no part of the leaf that is known as A. So meaning you are supposed to be able to identify. So let's hope wherever you are there, you are able to identify just after looking at it. Okay, so let's identify. So here we're seeing this thing which is A. What is A? So on a leaf, the starting point in the internal part, this is the waxy cuticle. Okay, so be able to write that is the waxy cuticle. And the function of the cuticle, it is supposed to be what? It is where sunlight penetrates. Okay, so this one, when a leaf is like this, let's say for instance a leaf is like this, it is supposed to allow sunlight to penetrate. That's the function of the cuticle. Okay, then we come to B. Having looked at B, what is B? So B, it is the what? Upper epidermis. Okay, so meaning we're going to say upper epidermis. Okay, so you've seen the upper epidermis. Even you are also having epidermis, which is the top skin. That's the epidermis. And with the top part of the leaf, it is what? The upper epidermis. Okay, then we look at C. What is C? When you look at C here, what is C? So C, it can either be referred to as the spongy cell or the palisade cell spongy or palisade mesophyll. But here we're going to call it as the what? The palisade mesophyll. Okay, so here we're going to say the palisade mesophyll. Bear with me, space. Okay, so this is the palisade mesophyll. Okay, so here on the palisade mesophyll, this is where now we find the spongy cells and everything, the xylem cell, the folium cell. Okay, but luckily we're also going to look at that. We come to D now. Having looked at C, what is D? If with you and I looking at D and also looking at B, they're kind of they're kind of related. So what is D? D, it is the lower epidermis. Okay, so be able to write what you have to say, lower epidermis. Okay, so now having looked at all this, okay, so now we are remaining with E. E is actually here. What is E? So as you can see, we're having this far edge and also this far edge. If they are put together, there's going to be a space that will be in the middle. What's that part? Okay, so that part is known as the stoma. Stoma, these are the small holes into which now water passes through. But now here, since we're dealing with gases, we would say that is carbon dioxide and oxygen. That's the stoma. Okay, think you've learned about that. So that will be the stoma or stomata. Okay, you can indicate that stomata. We go to F now. You've seen F. Where is the stoma found? Where is the stomata found? The stoma, it is found on the guard cell. So meaning here on F, the answer is guard cell. Okay, so guard cell. So is she to guard cell in regard that his stoma. Okay, we come to G, which is this G. As you are able to see this thing, you should be able to identify these dots and these lines. What is this? So here we're talking about the palisade cell. We're actually able to find the what? We're finding the xylem cell and the folium cell. So be able to identify which one is the xylem cell. Think first of the what? Of the functions. H will be the xylem cell. The function of xylem cell is to what? Transport lipids. Henceforth, if you can see, these are more like what? These are more like pipes. Then these dots are representing the folium cell, which is there to transport the manufactured food. Let's say, for instance, the sucrose, amino acids, and everything like that. Okay. So here, G, it is a folium cell. Okay. So here it is the folium cell. Okay, so here we're going to say G is the phloem cell, which is there to transport the manufactured food. Then H, which is this one, they're just actually together. H, it is the xylem cell, which is there to transport mineral salts. Okay, then I, here is actually saying it, so this is the space, so meaning it's going to be known as the what? The air space. Okay, so here we're actually going to look at now the what? The adaptation of the leaf to photosynthesis. Okay, so having looked at all the parts that are actually found in the leaf, the internal part of the leaf, we are actually now going to look at how is it adapted to photosynthesis. Okay, so take note to say this is actually here to help you write your essay in biology. You even know that essay is active now. Okay, so here we're having, because of the thin lamina. So thin lamina is actually the same as it is found on the cuticle. So thin lamina for easy penetration of what? Of light. That's what you're supposed to write. Take note to say when you are writing your essay in biology, you should be able to write each point in paragraph so that you should be able to earn more marks. So here you're already having a mark on thin lamina for easy penetration of light. Okay, so we go to large surface area. So large surface area in a leaf, it is needed. That's why now you have to find the airspace. That large surface area is there to capture what? Enough light, because light is needed for photosynthesis to take place. So the large surface area will be there to capture enough light, light for photosynthesis to take place. Okay, we're going to look at the presence of veins and vascular bundles, which are xylem and what? And folium. So these veins, they are needed in what? In photosynthesis. When photosynthesis is taking place, it is going to need what? Mineral salts. So the mineral salts are actually going to be transported by the what? By the xylem cell or the xylem vascular bundle. And folium, after photosynthesis has taken place, it is going to need its food actually, since it takes place in the leaf, the food to be transported to all parts of the what? Of the tree. So meaning it is going to need the help of the what? Of the folium cell, of the folium vein to what? Transport the food. Okay. Then we go to the presence of stomata. So here, the stomata is actually, as we looked at the diagram, we looked at what we're finding the palisade cell or the spongy cell or the palisade mesophyll. So that is the place where we find now the what? So there, that's actually the presence of stomata for entry of carbon dioxide and exit of what? Oxygen. You are able to see after the palisade mesophyll, there came the what? The lower epidermis. Then now down there, if you saw properly, there came the what? The gut cell, and just there on the gut cell, we're having the what? The stomata. Remember to say we say the stomata, these are openings that are found on the leaf, and those are there to allow carbon dioxide, the entry of carbon dioxide and the exit of what? Oxygen. Oxygen tayari can photosynthesis. Photosynthesis needs what? It needs carbon dioxide. And one thing you should know, photosynthesis takes place during the day because of the sunlight that it acquires. Okay? So here we're also going to look at now the presence of chloroplast to absorb light energy for photosynthesis. One of the most important things for adaptation of photosynthesis is what? Chloroplast. Chloroplast, this is the green pigment. It contains chlorophyll, which is a green white pigment, and this one is actually located there where we look at the palisade cell, or where we name it as the palisade mesophyll. That is why chloroplast is actually located. Okay, so we're actually going to look at now the highest concentration of chloroplast is found in the palisade cells. Okay, followed by the spongy cells. So even in the spongy cells, it is what it is found. In the spongy cells are actually found on the palisade mesophyll. And here we're saying it is going to be followed by the spongy cells, and finally the what? The gut cells. Then the gut cells, what actually is going out to find the what? The stoma, and carbon dioxide is going to go through. So these are the things that you're supposed to know. So just for a brief thing that you're supposed to take note as you deal with your essay. Look at the thickness of the what? Or the thinness of the lamina. You look at the presence of chloroplast, which contains chlorophyll that is needed for you. You look at the presence of the xylem and the folium, these are vascular bundles. That will be there to transport the mineral salts and the food that will be manufactured in the plant, or which are the leaves. Okay, you are going to look at the lower and the upper epidermis. These are there. You know the epidermis. What is the epidermis there to do? It is there to protect the leaf from mechanical shock. Okay, so all these things you're actually supposed to put them into consideration as you write your essay. So I bet with these few points of mine, you will be able to actually come up with a very nice essay. So this is why we end our lesson for today. The next time we meet, you have an exercise. Bye.